starting off our list at number 10, we have Christian Bale. Christian Bale is supposed to be one of the most volatile and difficult people to work with in Hollywood. Bale's former assistant Harrison Chung also wrote a book about his experience working for him, saying that he needed 5 years of therapy to get past his Bale years. Chung says that he witnessed Bale lecturing fangirls about bothering him to the point where these fangirls started crying. When Bale received a fan letter, he told Chung the fan should be eliminated with a quote screwdriver thrust through the eyeball into the brain which prevents any screaming. I guess there's definitely a reason why he got the role of American Psycho. Yes, because he's a psycho, get it? And at number 9 we have Lance Armstrong. Right around the time Lance Armstrong was stripped of 7 Tour de France titles by the US anti-doping agency, his former assistant came forward to expose him in a pretty terrible expose for Outside magazine. Mike Anderson was Lance Armstrong's assistant starting in 2012. He claims that Armstrong returned from Europe with cash stuffed into his pants from races he did under the table. He would avoid World Anti-Doping Agency tests, and while he was at Livestrong events, he would mutter things like, "I hate these effing things." He also left his wife in a very quote cruel and abrupt fashion. And at number 8 we have Anna Wintour. I could not do this list without talking about the most famous example, Anna Wintour, who was exposed by her former assistant Lauren Weisberger. After she graduated from college, Lauren got a job at Vogue magazine as an assistant to the editor-in-chief Anna Wintour. Lauren went on to write a book that resembled her experience working at Vogue and Anna Wintour herself very closely. It was called The Devil Wears Prada, and it was a novel about a girl who got an assistant's job at a fashion magazine where she worked for a mean dragon lady editor-in-chief called Miranda Priestley, later played by Meryl Streep. The book and the movie portrayed the editor-in-chief as pretty much the worst kind of boss, emotionally abusive, judgmental, and demanding. Anne wasn't actually too upset about the book or the movie. She did redecorate her office after the movie came out, which was eerily similar to Miranda Priestley's, but at the time she said, I quote, "Anything that makes fashion entertaining and glamorous and interesting is wonderful for our industry." So I was 100% behind it. And I mean, she was played by Meryl Streep, which is pretty much like goals. And at number 7 we have Courtney Love. Courtney is one of Hollywood's strangest characters. We know this from her bizarre relationship with deceased Nirvana frontman Kurt Cobain, but her former assistant actually sued her in 2012 when she didn't receive payment for the job she'd done. Jessica Labrie had a list of strange job criteria as her personal assistant. She worked for $30 an hour, she was going to receive a full ride scholarship to Yale, her job title was assistant and quote forensic research aide, and she was supposed to get the opportunity to work on a Nirvana biopic. But Jessica claims Courtney Love didn't pay her basic wages. She made her work overtime, didn't pay for the Yale scholarship, and even asked her to do illegal tasks like hiring a computer hacker, and she wanted her to pose as a lawyer. Jessica also told the press that while she worked for her, Courtney Love acted with a quote improper and evil motive amounting to malice or despicable conduct. At number 6 we got Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's former assistant Jennifer O'Neill claims Lady Gaga was nothing short of a monster. A monster who owed her almost $400,000 in unpaid overtime during her 13 months working for her. Jennifer would do everything for Lady Gaga, and she was on duty 24 hours a day. She often wasn't given time off for breaks, meals, or even sleep. The lawsuit states that her duties included ordering Gaga's meals, making sure her outfits were on hand, the quote promptness of a towel following a shower, and serving as a personal alarm clock. For all of this, Jennifer was paid $75,000 a year, which is like, that's not enough. Gaga's assistant before O'Neill, Angela Siemny, also claimed that she would sleep and take showers with Lady Gaga because she didn't like being alone. Halfway there now at number 5 we got Tony Robbins. 9 former staffers and followers of Tony Robbins came forward with many accusations of sexual misconduct this past year. Kimberly Stokes, who worked as Tony Robbins' live-in personal assistant, had a lot of things to say about Robbins as part of a BuzzFeed expose. She recalls one time where Robbins walked into her bathroom while she was showering and dropped his towel, exposing himself. This wasn't the only time Robbins made a pass at her in this way either. To make matters worse, Stokes was a survivor of abuse as a child, and Robbins knew that. Another former assistant, Kate Ratas, said that she considered seeing Robbins naked as quote part of her job, but also saw his teachings as life transforming. In at 4 we got Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy was called out by his former assistant Starway for owing him $30,000. Starway said that he worked for Soulja Boy for a total of 5 weeks, and during that time period he did everything for him. He lived with him in his house the entire time and took care of his day-to-day. He also says he shot around 15 music videos for him, which he was never paid for. It seems like Soulja took this guy for a bit of a ride. He does have the reputation of being like, I don't know, just like not having any money. He's uploaded photos of fake stacks of money to Instagram for years, and according to his financial advisor, who was also owed money at the time, Soulja hadn't paid him because he only had $1,000 in his bank account. Damn, or should I say, ooh, Soulja Boy up in it, ooh. Guess he's still not making money off of royalties, because nobody likes that song anymore. In at 3 we have Whitney Houston. Whitney's former personal assistant Robin Crawford finally addressed rumors that she and Whitney were in a romantic relationship in a tell-all book, A Song for You, My Life with Whitney Houston. Crawford was one of the first people to tell Houston's mother, Sissy, about her drug habit. And in terms of their romantic relationship, according to Robin, they were lovers and Whitney was a lesbian. Everyone close to them knew that there was something going on. Whitney's mother, Sissy Houston, was against their relationship, saying it was unnatural for two women to be that close. Even Whitney's husband at the time, Bobby Brown, did not like Robin Crawford. While on tour in 1991, Robin and Whitney would share a hotel room, yet Whitney tragically lost her life in a hotel room with cocaine in her system. She drowned in a bathtub. In at 2 we got J-Lo. If you work for Jennifer Lopez, she doesn't let you talk or make eye contact with her. Her new assistant job description is as follows. Must have thick skin, be graceful under pressure, resourceful in foreign countries. They must be on call 24/7, be able to change diapers, work on little sleep, and cook if the butler's away. Oh, and this next bit is the icing on the very, very saucy cake. If you're J-Lo's personal assistant, you have to know when it's J-Lo's snack time, even though she won't say when she's hungry. You're expected to have food waiting for her. Okay? Also, according to J-Lo's several former assistants, they weren't allowed significant others or vacations. And at number 1 on our list, we have Mariah Carey. Liana Shakanzarian was Mariah Carey's personal assistant for 2 years before her employment was wrongfully terminated in 2017. According to a lawsuit she filed and a 32-page complaint, she was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for both Mariah and her former manager. While she was employed, Mariah's former manager Stella Stoppler subjected her to both verbal and physical abuse, using racial slurs like Armenian whore to refer to her. But wait, there's more. Liana alleges that Stoppler tackled her to the ground and urinated on her multiple times. Liana's lawsuit alleges that Mariah knew about all of this abuse and was even present for much of it, but allowed it to continue. After she complained, she was fired 1 month later. And at number 10 we have Kanye West. The girlfriend of Kanye's ex-personal assistant, Jazerai Allen Lord, exposed Kanye on a podcast with Leah McSweeney and Laura Stiles. According to Lord, as of 2018, Kanye was broke. He wasn't able to pay his staff for 12 weeks because of money troubles and gave them ramen noodles to eat. He paid his top assistant $200 a day. This is quite shocking because Kanye's brand Yeezy was supposed to be worth more than $1 billion at the time, and he definitely has expensive taste. Kanye has come clean about the fact that he's broke, $53 million in debt to be exact. He said, I quote, "People don't give money to real artists like me, but would rather open schools in Africa." And at number 9 we got Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber's assistant, Terrence Smith, took the blame after Justin was caught with an illegal substance at an airport in Australia after a tour. Bieber was given a 12-month good behavior bond while his personal assistant pleaded guilty to 2 charges of importing marijuana, and he paid a fine of $1,000. Justin's assistants also always have to be male, because if Justin hires a female, the Biebs gets a little flirtatious. Maybe a little handsy, and he strikes up romantic relationships with them. And at number 8 we have Todrick Hall. The former American Idol singer and YouTuber was called out on Twitter by his ex-assistant Thomas McKissick for being abusive, spending all his money on escorts and strippers instead of paying his creative team, and he also talked trash about Taylor Swift. Apparently, and was caught on video doing it. He tweeted, "I was Todrick Hall's personal assistant for years and I know every detail of his life, including deliberate non-payment to people, racism, sexual assault, sexual harassment, online bullying, exploitation, illegal business practices, the list goes on. P.S. I never signed an NDA." McKissick also revealed that he and his boyfriend were fired by Todrick Hall for having a relationship with each other instead of continuing their sexual relationships with Hall. Sounds like a great boss. Sign me up. And at number 7 we got Faye Dunaway. Dunaway's former assistant Michael Rocha claims he was paid $1,500 a week to be regularly and relentlessly subjected to abusive, demeaning tirades. That is a lovely sentence, I have to admit. She would humiliate him at work for being a gay man. Rocha says Dunaway called him and other workers, quote, "little gay people," and a little homosexual boy. Rocha tried reporting Dunaway but was fired 2 weeks later despite not having any disciplinary history. Rocha actually ended up suing Dunaway over discriminatory and unlawful conduct. In at number 6 is Floyd Mayweather. In a tell-all book, former executive assistant Tasha Robinson revealed that Mayweather was consumed with his wealth. He lost $15 million after being scammed by a con man. He was always surrounded by paid strippers and gave wads of cash to strangers. When he wasn't training, he would sleep from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. and he also spent 2 hours, quote, grooming. I don't even spend 2 hours grooming. He also never carried a credit card and almost always had $100,000 in cash on him at all times, stuffed into a duffel bag called Pregnant Duffel by his staff. Also, Mayweather would make his friends sit in the back seat while Pregnant Duffel was in the front with him. At least he takes care of pregnant duffel bags. Does he also feed the duffel bag ice cream and pickles? In at 5 we have Angelina Jolie. Former assistant of Angelina Jolie, Anna Charlotte, worked at their country estate in the south of France between 2008 and 2010, and apparently Angelina and Brad would fight all the time, and then they would spend weeks living apart. Oh yes, I got the tea, and I'm just getting started, we only halfway there. She also said that Angelina is an alcoholic. This is especially problematic considering how many kids she has. When Angelina gets too drunk, she locks her 6 kids in their rooms. Anna actually sued Angelina and Brad for $88,000 for wrongful termination after she took time off for an illness. In at number 4 we got Kim Kardashian. Kim fired her longtime personal assistant Stephanie Shepard, who had a lot to reveal about Kim after they parted ways. She shared on Instagram at the time, letting go of a bad friend and self-care involves forgiving yourself for your impossible standards and knowing you are worth it. Alright, so what's the tea? Oh, you know I got the tea, boo. Kim Kardashian apparently takes 1,000 selfies a day. Only 1,000? What? Amateur. Stephanie said, I quote, "She is so vain that she has staff remove plants or objects if they're in the way of a mirror." While on holiday at Punta Mita in Mexico, Kim took 6,000 selfies on her 4-day trip. Kim is also, apparently, a slob. She would leave clothes everywhere and Stephanie would have to clean them up. Stephanie also said there would be old food in the refrigerator, the trash would be overflowing in the kitchen, and the bathrooms, no one would go in there. I honestly could do an entire top 10 about secrets revealed about Kim Kardashian's ex-assistant alone. Would you like to see that? Of course you would. I know you would. Let's move on now to number 3, we have Jennifer Aniston. According to a few of Aniston's personal assistants, she hates being sweaty and refuses to be dewy on hot days. During takes on set, she would make her assistants fan her or hold ice cubes to her face to keep her body temperature cool. Here is a picture of that happening on set. Like, I get it, but also like I feel like that's just like really extra. Also, apparently, one of her assistants died. Back in 2015, she and Justin Theroux had a group honeymoon with their best friends at a French Polynesian hotel. Their assistant, Carmel Musgrove, spent all day in the hot sun drinking, then went back to a producer's hotel room to continue partying. Her body was found on a nearby beach. She died of overconsumption of alcohol, cocaine, fatigue, and heat stroke. In at number 2, we got Meghan Markle. Meghan's ex-assistants have given her a couple of awful nicknames over the years, like Duchess Difficult, Duchess Megain, which means she's always looking out for herself. She's far from the easiest boss to work for, but that also has something to do with the huge burden she bears as the first American and the first black woman in the British royal family. Her schedules are packed with appointments and appearances to make up for a lack of minority representation. Assistants' days start at 5 a.m. and they wake up to a stacked inbox of emails from Meghan. But nevertheless, unnamed sources say that the worst job in the palace is working for Meghan Markle, and the high turnover rate supports that claim. Meghan has gone through 5 assistants since 2018 when she joined the royal family. Who knows the reason why these assistants left? Prince Harry doesn't seem to mind. But then again, he also doesn't work for her, so. And at number 1, we have Harvey Weinstein. No surprise here. Rowena Chu revealed in an emotional New York Times op-ed a horrible experience that cost her decades of trauma. Chu was a young woman of color who was working for Weinstein to try and get rid of her student debt. Harvey was the exact opposite, one of the most powerful men in Hollywood who held all the cards. One night in 1998 at the Venice Film Festival, he told her he liked Chinese girls because they were discreet, because I quote, "they knew how to keep a secret." He then said, "I've never had a Chinese girl," and you can guess what happened next. Chu says she escaped, but after she confronted Weinstein, she was laughed at by her senior colleagues and told to sign a non-disclosure agreement. Her attempts to report Harvey to the police were shut down. Weinstein denied Chu's allegations and said their relationship was consensual, something Chu avidly denies. Let's slide right in here at number 10 with Madonna. Madame Madonna is one of the biggest divas around. She's particularly difficult to work for because she's such a perfectionist. For one, she hates germs and doesn't want them to be anywhere near her. Before her concert in France, for example, Madonna had all the toilets, showers, and sinks removed, scrubbed down, and then reinstalled. Madonna also reportedly has a food intake assistant whose job it is to monitor everything that Madonna puts in her mouth. Madonna's actually admitted to having a food assistant in an interview with The Mirror. She said, "I call her the food police. Are you eating? Did you drink enough water?" So basically this person's job is to allow Madonna to get mad at them whenever she eats because she doesn't want to eat. How is that normal? What the f***? Madonna, I love you, but how does that make any sense? At number 9 on our list we have Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande apparently likes to be carried. It helps that she's very small, but whenever she doesn't feel like walking, she wants to be carried like a baby. She will ask her assistants to pick her up so that her feet aren't hitting the floor. So I gotta admit, this one seemed like a little bit crazy. But Ariana's actually confirmed the fact that she likes to be carried in an Instagram post. A couple of Instagram posts. Caption, "Post-show ritual when my feet are broken," and "Long shoot yesterday, couldn't walk or keep my eyes open by the time we finished." There's also a ton of pictures of Ariana Grande being carried all over the internet. She's not being carried on the internet, the pictures, shut up. Although it is one of my fantasies to be carried everywhere by men like an Egyptian queen. I can't imagine actually demanding it of people. Is this what fame does? Does anyone know? I feel like that's what happens. You just feel like you have the right to be carried everywhere. At number 8 on our list we have Sarah Jessica Parker. Sex and the City star and fashion icon Sarah Jessica Parker is reportedly a little bit quirky. Leaked emails revealed just how quirky. According to former staffer Michelle Collins, she instructs staff to fill a tiny 1.5 ounce container of Vaseline for her kids. The cutlery used to fill the Vaseline has to be hand washed using a paper towel, and then it has to go through the dishwasher. Her son's bottle of face wash and body wash must be always replenished. Staff can't buy multiples of products, they must monitor the products until the product runs out and then replace that product immediately. Also, apparently Jessica practices witchcraft, which is like, kinda no surprise. Hocus pocus anybody? At number 7 we have Demi Moore. Demi Moore loves some good lighting. Girl, same. But her obsession with good lighting is a bit more severe than most of us. Demi Moore reportedly can't look at herself in the mirror unless the lighting is perfect. An assistant revealed amber bulbs are the order of the day at Demi's house. She believes softer light is more flattering and has cases of bulbs in her home in case the bulbs ever get discontinued. At number 6 on our list we have Frank Sinatra. I love me some Frank Sinatra. Damn. But the legendary jazz singer has some pretty interesting quirks. So you know Sinatra's hat? Yeah, that was apparently there to cover up his bald spot. Talk about hat fishing. Am I right, ladies? If you don't know what hat fishing is, it's this thing where like guys will have a bald spot and they'll wear a hat to cover it up, and then they'll take the hat off and you're like, whoa, I didn't know you were bald. I know it's mean, but it's something that happens. You know, I'd like to know. I'd like to know in advance. In his memoir, Mr. S, My Life with Frank Sinatra, his butler, back then stars had butlers, not personal assistants, George Jacobs, revealed he had to spray cover up on his boss's bald patch every single day. Spray my hands so they can't see my bald spot. Yes, Sinatra, anything for you, Sinatra. One for my bald spot and one more for the road. George would also have to pay for the nighttime lady visitors who would come by Sinatra's place. You'd think he wouldn't have to pay for that sort of thing. Also, apparently Sinatra wore the specially made underwear designed to hold his impressive package. And this underwear George would have to go pick up and find whenever he was at events. Halfway there at number 5 we have Jessica Simpson. Jessica and her assistant Casey Cobb seem like best friend goals, but before Cobb, Jessica went through a ton of personal assistants. One of them only lasted 2 weeks because, quote, she was too smart to work for Jessica. Many of her assistants hated working for her. One source told the Star that Jessica Simpson would dine and dash, as in she wouldn't pay the bill when she went out to restaurants or bars. The assistant claims that Jessica thought her stardom was payment enough. Jessica also reportedly drops her hair extensions all over the place, to the point where it looks like animals have been shedding all over the house. I'm so enjoying this. Anyone else enjoying these? I'm really having fun. At number 4 we have Mel B. Mel B's former personal assistant and friend came forward with a ton of scary accusations about this Spice Girl. Gary Matatayan filed a lawsuit against Mel after she apparently didn't pay him $200,000 while he worked as her hairstylist and PA. Matatayan was very close with Mel, almost too close. He did everything for her, to the point where he had no personal life. He couldn't see his friends or family because he was always working for Mel. He also described incidents where Mel was drunk and violent with her children. Gary said that at her lowest point, Mel would drink 3 bottles of wine a day and multiple tequila shots, which would make her delusional and paranoid. At number 3 we have Taryn Manning. This Orange is the New Black star has reportedly been violent toward her assistant, which might be why she got the role she got on Orange is the New Black. Her former assistant's name is Hillian Hartman. Manning was ordered to stay away from Hartman after the two had a vicious brawl at the Dream Hotel in New York that left her assistant covered in bruises. According to the lawsuit, she choked and punched her personal assistant and whipped her with a wet towel. She also sprayed Windex in her eyes and mouth. Doesn't taste very good, trust me. Taryn was charged with misdemeanor assault and choking. At number 2 we have Cat Williams. It's too bad Cat Williams is such a, how do I put this nicely, psycho. Aside from being a really funny comedian, he has a long history of domestic abuse, assault, and violence towards dogs. But one former assistant, Angela Triplett Hill, claims Williams beat women in front of her and he even knocked her unconscious after he hit her in the face. She had stepped away to take a phone call while the two were on set. She said he confronted her outside, lunged toward her, took her phone and threw it. He then insulted her verbally, and when she insulted him back, he struck her multiple times and her head hit the concrete, rendering her unconscious. She sued him for more than $1 million. And he actually failed to show up in court or respond to the allegations. And at number 1 on our list, no surprise here, we have Naomi Campbell. Supermodel Naomi Campbell famously threw a BlackBerry at her PA Amanda Brack. Amanda revealed on the Tyra Banks show that Naomi attacked her no less than 3 times, spat in her face, she cut up her passport and threw it in a swimming pool. And the BlackBerry incident? They were in Mexico when Naomi quote cornered her against a wall over problems with flights and luggage. She got very upset and slammed her BlackBerry in the assistant's face. Naomi's hairdresser intervened and saved Amanda. Naomi is apparently very difficult to be around. She also treated another personal assistant in the same manner, Amy Castaldo, who had quit after being subjected to a lot of abuse. Abuse like headbutting, biting, pulling her to the ground by her hair, and calling her a worthless bitch. She also threw a phone at the head of her housekeeper, she caused tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage to a yacht belonging to her former lover, and she had a breakdown outside of one of her ex's flats in London at 3:30 in the morning. Coming into the number 10 spot we have Sandra Bullock. Other than being one of the most highly paid actresses in Hollywood, Sandra Bullock is a notoriously private person. She's even become more private since she adopted her 2 children, Louie and Layla. Her assistant said that she always has to make sure the curtains in her home are kept closed at all times. She's terrified of the press seeing into her place and she's paranoid about them taking photos. Which is fair. I just picture Sandra Bullock like peering out of the curtains. Sandra Bullock is also known to have a pretty bad temper and she takes it out on her assistant. According to a witness, while they were standing in line for a coffee, Sandra Bullock berated her assistant for being 5 minutes late. Now obviously we weren't there, maybe this assistant is late all the time, you know? Don't be late next time, huh? At number 9 we have Christina Aguilera. Former employees have revealed that Christina Aguilera liked to spice things up in the bedroom with role playing. When she and Jordan Bratman were married, she would dress up in costume and walk around the house. Definitely must have been fun for Jordan, not so fun for her assistant, who would have to pick up maids' dresses, nurse uniforms, and other risque clothing off the floor. Like, before or after sex? Was there foreplay? Was she wearing it? That's nasty. That's the kind of shit that you'd probably use tongs to pick up. You know, there's some like tongs. Is this yours? Unfortunately, as you know, the spicing up didn't really work because Christina Aguilera and Jordan Bratman are now divorced. And at number 8 we have Kristen Stewart. There are lots of pictures of Kristen Stewart smoking around the internet. She's almost always pictured with a cigarette in her mouth. Not sure if you guys have ever lived with a smoker before, but it gets real gross real quick. According to her former assistant, Kirsten quote, puffs away like a chimney and leaves cigarette butts everywhere. In the shower, in the potted plants. Oh, not in the plants, man. Why you gotta do that to the plants? And once they found a cigarette butt inside the fridge. I'm not sure why someone would continue smoking in this way, but her addiction has actually cost her work. Rumor has it Chanel cancelled their contract with Kristen Stewart over her unhealthy lifestyle. But like, didn't Coco Chanel smoke like a chimney too? Pretty sure she did. It's not woke anymore. At At number 7 we have Khloe Kardashian. Khloe likes to come off like the perfect housewife candidate. She likes to make people think that she can bake. She can't. You know that from watching this channel. She also likes to pretend her house is perfectly clean and organized at all times, but Khloe doesn't actually do any of the cleaning herself. One of her assistants told Radar Online that Khloe doesn't lift a finger. She just barks orders at her assistants and housekeepers to have the cookies and other goodies displayed so that they will look good on camera. This is for the videos on her paid apps. Now granted, if I were rich and famous, I would probably pay someone to clean for me too, like, I don't know, I just don't like doing dishes, you know? But the assistant also claimed that if the food isn't displayed the way she wants, she will dump it upside down and make them do it all over again, which kind of reminds me of like Cinderella's evil stepsisters. Not gonna lie. I didn't call her ugly stepsister, I said evil. At number 6 we got Ryan Gosling. Okay, so there's few women on earth who aren't in love with Ryan Gosling. My mom thinks he's ugly, but I think he's dashing. Sorry, I just had a daydream about Ryan Gosling. But just because he's a mega babe on the screen, that doesn't mean he's not a total weirdo when he's in private. First of all, he enjoys getting waxed, which is like, who in their right mind enjoys getting waxed? He waxes both his chest and his back a couple times a month. He hates having hair. No hair allowed. Hopefully the assistant doesn't do the waxing themselves. And one of Ryan Gosling's housekeepers famously claimed that he walks up the stairs on all fours, he sleeps with his head at the foot of the bed, and he pees sitting down. So wait, does that mean Eva Mendes sleeps next to Ryan's feet? Like, I'll take it, I'll do that. I don't mind. At number 5 we have Selena Gomez. Selena is a slob, and not just in a leaves her dishes lying around the house kind of way. Selena is known to have a quote lack of respect for other places and can completely trash a hotel room in less than 24 hours. She'll leave makeup stains all over the bed, likely because she doesn't take off her makeup before she goes to sleep. How do you not get like pimples? She'll leave food wrappers all over the place, she doesn't clean up drink spills, and she also leaves her undies lying around for her assistant to pick up. That's nice. Tongs again. Is this yours? At number 4 we have Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart admitted herself in a blog post that she keeps her assistant Shakipe Barisha very busy. Busy with organizing. Barisha was tasked with organizing all of Martha's cosmetics into labeled clear plastic tubs in the basement dressing rooms of her winter house. Martha has a winter house. Of course she does. Martha said in a blog post, one by one she removes items from the bins and recategorizes every item, reevaluating what is still usable and discarding items that are too old or expired. This process is tedious, but it's always good to clean out makeup and other beauty care supplies every few months. Now I mean, listen, I'm a Virgo, so I actually love organizing, and I didn't think this was so bad when I read it. But then I saw how many cosmetics Martha Stewart has. It's a lot. That's a lot. At number 3 we have David Beckham. In 2004, David Beckham's personal assistant, Rebecca Luz, said in an interview that she had an affair with David Beckham. Rebecca is a Dutch glamour model and former TV star who actually gained fame after she came forward with these allegations, so maybe it was all to like get some press time, who knows. She says the affair began with flirting and texting and gradually developed into a bond. But after a while the relationship was purely physical, which made her feel quote, dirty and cheap. So sleeping with a married man didn't make you feel dirty and cheap? Cool. Beckham always denied her claims, and while he and Victoria Beckham are still married. Rebecca now lives a very private life as a yoga teacher in the Dutch mountains. At number 2 we have Garth Brooks. I haven't heard that name in a while. Garth Brooks' former assistant Lisa Sanderson, who worked for him for 20 years, sued the country's superstar for $425,000. She said he was quote paranoid, angry, deceitful, and a vindictive man who would turn against those closest to him on a dime. She tried to get him a career in television and movies, but he was his own worst enemy. He refused to work with anyone because he didn't want to share the limelight. He supposedly turned down a role in Twister because he felt the part would be outshined by the tornado in the film. You can't make this shit up, guys. A tornado! Brooks' lawyers denied the claims. And at number 1 on our list we have Robert De Niro. I am really sad that he ended up on this list because dude, I love me some De Niro, but he's actually one of the worst cases I've come across. Like, this is some Weinstein shit. if it's true. De Niro was sued for $12 million for gender discrimination by his former assistant, Graham Chase Robinson. She claims that he would make abusive and sexist comments toward her. He also engaged in inappropriate conduct and, quote, gratuitous unwanted physical contact. This treatment was proven in a recorded phone call where De Niro berated Miss Robinson repeatedly for not answering his calls. The lawsuit also states that she was underpaid because she was a woman, she was called, quote, a brat, and she could get pregnant using sperm from a married male co-worker. Last allegation, De Niro supposedly urinated during phone calls with her, met her wearing only a bathrobe. Why is it always a bathrobe, man? He would ask her to scratch his back and allowed his friend to slap her on the butt and didn't do anything about it.